Good evening, everyone. Here's a review of the Keltec sub2000 Gen 2. Before we begin, let's go ahead and show clear and safe. I've got two magazines here. I'm going to go ahead and show you. So we got orange followers on them. Clear and safe for the mags. For the firearm, let's go ahead and flip it over. Okay, so no magazine inserted. No round in the chamber. Okay. This gun is a pretty awesome gun. If you're looking for a really good 9mm carbine, but you don't want something that looks like an AR, there's a lot of good AR carbines out there, you know, chambered in 9mm. I just wanted something a little different. You know, Ruger has the PC carbine. I think I haven't shot that firearm, but I've heard excellent things about it. This one I like because of what it can do, okay, and the form factor that it comes in. This is a like I said, it's 9mm, and it's pretty sweet. So I mean, here's my hands, right? This is how big it is. It's not very big, and guess what? It gets a lot smaller. So what I mean by that is your trigger guard here has a dual purpose. It's also a release. And it gets into a package this size. So if you want to run it in a backpack, keep it in a vehicle, keep it with, you know, a good sidearm, you got you a good little package right here. To open it up, it's this little release back here. You pull it, and it's as simple as opening it. And the great thing about it is you could have a magazine inserted in this. If you had the bolt forward and a round chambered, you could run it that way. And if you had it opened in this portion right here, the bullet you chambered is gonna fall out because this is your chamber right there. So you could have your magazine inserted because there's your feed ramp right there. So you could have your magazine inserted, ready to go, and when you go to open it up, all you would have to do is rack it, and this is your charging handle here. And I'm going to show you how this operates here in a second. So here's my sight. I've done some upgrades to this firearm, and I'm going to get into them in a minute. And the reason why the sight was down, I'm going to get into those upgrades and why it did that. It's different versions of this gun, right? This is the Glock 17 version. So it's a full-size grip, and it takes Glock 17 mags, or, you know, the longer mags, your extended mags. There's a Glock 19 version, which takes your 15-round mags. It's got a shorter grip on it. Takes your 15-round mags, the 17-round mags for the Glock 17, and the longer mags. And then your third version, which is kind of like a catch-all, is the multi-mag version. So I'm going to flip the gun over. There's your mag release right here, this little button. Okay. But when I press this button on this side, you can see this plate right here, right? That's your mag catch. On the multi-mag version, there's two screw heads here. You can remove this plate. You can't on this one, it's the Glock version, but on the multi-mag version, this plate comes off, and you put the plate on based off of the magazines that you're running. So if you're running a Smith & Wesson, you can run that. Smith & Wesson, SIG, Beretta, Springfield Armory, the list just keeps going. They have a list for this firearm, and it came in the box with it too. There's a lot of different magazine releases you can get for it, but your major manufacturers, you can run it if you have the multi-mag version. Don't quote me on this, but I think if you get the multi-mag version, it comes with the Smith & Wesson plate, and I think it's like 20 or 40. Like I said, don't quote me. It's 20 or 40 bucks for the extra plate. To, like, say if you're running SIG mags, you could run the SIG. So you've got a firearm that takes your sidearm mags, and then that way you don't have to carry different mags, right, in the same caliber. So if you're running Glock, you got a Glock 17, or the 19X, you know, you throw them in there, you're done. You can run it. I mean, like I said, the form factor is great. I didn't know how I felt about it because, I've heard great things about Keltec. I've heard some bad, a lot of good though. And I was worried about there being a lot of plastic on this gun, but there is, but it's good quality plastic. It's hard plastic, okay? I don't know how to say it. Like, it's not polymer. It's definitely plastic, especially down here, but it's like a good hard plastic. Over here, over the grip, like you'd have to hold this gun to understand what I'm talking about, because I was shocked by the weight of it. It's light, but it's not as light as it looks. It's definitely heavier than it looks. And this is I definitely think it's quality. There was some issues, I think, with the Gen 1, I think, with this front post, swiveling, and this one doesn't do that. It's threaded for, if you want to, like, it's got knurling over the front, you can take this cap off, or the thread protector off, and run, a muzzle brake or a suppressor if you wanted to. It's got the rail up top and on bottom. I got this little hand piece for me. I like this angle on it. This is a Magpul. And I forget the name of this actual piece, but I like the angle on it. And then you got your M-locks on both sides. So if you wanted to run M-lock, you could, like a light or something. Just be mindful, if you run something on this top here, it's going to prevent you from folding it shut. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. If you got it to where it's like quick detach, that could be something like if you wanted to, like, I don't know why someone would want to run a light right here, but just argument's sake, you got your attachment here, you take it off, close it up. It's pretty accurate. I think I've only put 100 rounds through it since I've had it. I haven't been able to get out to the range as much as I like, but it shoots good. And mine, before I ever shot it, I did put some upgrades into it, not just aesthetically, but internally as well. I'm going to talk about those. So the main company I'm about to talk about here is called MCARBO. So this is one of their upgrades. This is the tube cover. It's the buffer tube cover. I recommend it. I didn't shoot the gun before not having it, but I'm taller. I'm 6'1". Running my, making that cheek weld right there on this, that it helped a lot. Let's talk about that. Since I'm talking about that, let me talk about the external stuff I've done to it. I put this little butt pad on here that's specifically made for the this Keltec sub2000 Gen 2s. And that's the logo for the company. And I can't remember it to save my life. But I'm going to put a link in the description for the things that I've put on here, right? This is the only thing I put on here that wasn't from MCARBO. And it's on there good. Like, it's not coming off. It slides on there, and it's designed, it's cut out so that way it molds around all the pieces. So it's on there good. It's not sliding off. External. So last thing too. So this rear sight, I think y'all seen earlier where I had to flip this up on my own. If you've got the stock sight on here, it flips up on its own. This has a little handle right here. So the great thing about it is, let's say if I ran like a red dot, this was in the way, I can lower it. This is another MCARBO piece. So the sight that comes on it is plastic, and it is it's a little shorter. This one raises it. It makes it's now metal, and the aperture itself is bigger. So I'm trying to get the angle on that hole there, but it's much bigger. Shooting it, didn't shoot it before with the plastic piece. Shot it only with this installed. I think it shoots great. It's got AR style, sights. It's got the front post up front. External. Oh, the trigger guard. The trigger guard is plastic as well, and so is the trigger. MCARBO sells this piece here as a metal piece, and the trigger as metal if you want a curved or flat faced. I went with the flat faced. First firearm that I've changed the trigger out on that I went with a flat face. Any other ones I've changed out, I kind of went with the curve because that's what was on there. I think from now on I'm gonna go flat faced. I really enjoyed this trigger. I think the point behind a flat face trigger is to give you more of like a 1911 style trigger pull with that flat trigger. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the whole point behind the flat face trigger, and I enjoy it. I only own one 1911, and I enjoy that trigger probably more than any of my other guns. And this is a nice trigger, putting a flat face trigger on there. I highly recommend it. Now, all the parts I'm talking about here, they're all made through MCARBO. Internally, this gun does come with a lot of plastic internally, and they sell these parts that will help with the reliability of it, the longevity of it. So it does have an internal hammer, okay? That pin that holds this hammer, it's about in this area right here. The pin itself has it's a pin, but it has this rubber thick grommet on it. And actually, if you'll give me a second, I can get it out and I can show you, because I have the bag full of parts. Keep everything in case for some reason I ever had to send it back or okay, here we go. I got it right here. And I apologize for making you have to wait for that, but I would like to show you in case you had questions. I got a couple of bags of parts. Just give me just a second. Here's the pin. Got it. So here's the pin. Let me see if I can get it up there. Focus. See if I can get you to focus. But this black piece right here, this is like a hard rubber, and from what MCARBO says, and they showed pictures of it, that this will shear off just after, running it. I just went ahead and went with an all metal one. That black rubber grommet on it is metal, so it's just one solid piece. Change that out, and like I said, I changed out the trigger to a metal trigger, changed out this. I did something else internal. Oh yes, the feed ramp. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. You can kind of see the shininess, right? That's your feed ramp. It comes with a plastic feed ramp. The one thing I didn't know about this gun, it comes with a plastic feed ramp. Didn't know it till after I bought it because I really, really wanted this thing. And I didn't know how I felt about running a plastic feed ramp. That's like a disclaimer for anyone watching this video and you decide you want to get one, how you feel about that. Now the MCARBO kit is definitely worth it. It comes with a metal feed ramp. And you can drop it in as is, and it's smooth, but you can polish it, and they recommend it, and they sell a polishing kit for it. You can polish it and make that feed ramp silky smooth. I got the plastic one right here. So this is your plastic feed ramp. See, look, and I hadn't even fired the gun. This is just from me slamming the bolt home. Like one of the ends of this lip had been chipped off. It actually sits in there like this. So that's where, I guess, I don't know what happened there, but I'm glad I went with a metal one. I had racked some dummy rounds in there beforehand, and maybe that's what happened, examining this. But yeah, irritating. Like I said, I went through 2 boxes of 50 rounds, so 100 rounds total, without a single issue. And it performed flawlessly. I have Glock magazines. It doesn't come with Glock magazines. It comes with a P-Mag, 17 round. And then, I don't have any Glock extended mags, but I have one of these like off-brand ones. And I don't recommend going off-brand with anything if you can help it. If you can go with the manufacturer, go with the manufacturer. Not saying that there aren't good aftermarket magazines out there. I'm just saying the manufacturer knows what they're doing. If they're making mags for it, go with that. But this is what it's going to look like with your extended mag in, right? And here's your PMag. 17 rounds, so flush fit. So if you got a Glock, right, you don't have to carry different styles of magazines for this. So internally, what else did I do? I think that's about it. They do make a spring kit for the trigger. I didn't mind the trigger pull on it already, so I just left the trigger how it was. They said it decreased the trigger pull weight on it. It's not that heavy to begin with. But what else? I know they make this charging handle for it. They make different styles of charging handles. I didn't change it. That's fine for me. They do make a really neat optics mounting kit for this side of it. So how it works is, and if you check out their website for this, it's pretty neat. But instead of mounting it up here, it mounts to these screws right here, and it mounts to the side, and it's on a swivel. So you can, if you don't want to run your optic, you don't have to. You can swivel it over, and it's locked in place. And if you want to close your firearm, you hit the switch, and it swings over, and you can close the firearm. I don't have any red dot optics. They're good ones are expensive, and I just haven't ever broke down and bought one. I would like to one day, but if I ever did, I'm buying that for this. I think the fact that you can close this firearm up into the tight package that it comes in is nice. Like I said, everything that I purchased for this gun, I'm going to put it to the link in a link for the description. So if you want to check that out, you can. The one thing I do like about this gun is that when you got a magazine in and you're ready to send it home, right? This is where you send it back and you lock it in place, but there is no last round bolt hold open for it. But when you got a round ready, you can just rack it back, let it go. But if you've got it in this condition here, all you got to do is, and it's ready to go. How sick is that? So trigger pull, here's your trigger pull on it. I mean, I don't even know why they make a trigger kit for it. I think it would be too light, in my opinion. I'm not a professional shooter. You know, I'm sure if you were competition shooting, it would be nice. But I think for personal defense, home defense, just regular shooting, that is a decent trigger. I'm going to rack it back and I'll show you the reset on it. So there's the reset. You can barely hear it, but it's there. And you can feel it in the trigger too when it happens. Now, when you go to do those parts internally here, this thing is kind of a pain to take apart. Now for cleaning it and basic disassembly, your stock has multiple, it's got three positions. This is the longest length of pull, and then your medium, and then your shortest, right? So if it was here, you know, it would be closer in. You take this pin out, and this comes off, and then everything internal to here slides out, your bolt and everything. You can remove your charging handle, and you can run a rag down through this. You can break it in half. You can clean your feed ramp. You can pull, with the bolt pulled back, you can clean your feed ramp and then run it up through your barrel if you had to, right? So, I mean, for cleaning it, that's about as far as you're going to need to go. Internally, you should never have to get in there unless you have changed out the parts or unless something breaks with it. I didn't even talk about the safety. It's got a basic safety right here. I guess the one thing I guess it's not bad, but I'm used to when you're firing it like on a gun like this, you would think that pushing in on this side would be safe. But I mean, this is the safety right here, but pushing in would be safe. You have to, from this position, pushing it this way is fire. So this is a little different, you know, with some training, you can overcome that. What else about the firearm? I mean, really, that's about it. as far as its versatility and how neat it is, I mean, you can't beat it. This thing is pretty neat. I was looking for something, you know, to run Glock mags. I don't have a Glock, but I plan on purchasing one soon. And being able to have a firearm and a carbine that, you know, use the same equipment as far as magazines go, I mean, that just saves you from having to buy extra mags, different types of mags. You can just carry one style of mags for all of it. And that's, I think, the selling point for this firearm. And if you're looking for something that doesn't have an AR look to it, I think this is pretty cool. Kind of space age looking almost, but still kind of modern. I really like this. And it's light. It's got sling attachments on the rear here. You can run one here. I mean, you can do anything you want to with this. MCARBO sells sling attachments, so you can run them here, so you can run your sling from here if you wanted to. Yeah, I mean, I love this gun. I can't hype it up enough. It's a great gun. Never owned a Keltec product in my life. I didn't really know how I felt about them. I know they make a lot of plastic firearms. They're kind of innovative in what they do as far as making cheap plastic firearms. When I say cheap, I would like to say cost effective. But this one definitely doesn't feel cheap. I mean, like everything on it feels solid. It doesn't feel like you can sit here and break it. Yeah, if you have any questions about anything on this firearm, please let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to make a follow-up video if I have to for you. Or if you got any questions, please hit me up. That's why I'm out here, is to educate you on these firearms. Or you know, if you got a question about it, please, I'll be happy to answer. I think firearms are an investment, and you know, if you're like me, you ain't got a whole lot of money. When you buy a firearm, you want it to work. You don't want problems with it, and if it does, you want to buy it from someone who's got a good warranty program and things of that nature. But yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Until next time, thank you.